we created a partnership directly with TikTok, which has been able to kind of put gasoline on that fire. Um,
Wow.
and so we're the only vendor, we're the only person in the US that's able to pull everything together this way,
Hmm.
that we have a relationship with them. And so that like they can't find other vendors that are doing what we're doing.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Garden State Growth Show. I know we took a little bit of a hiatus, but to be honest with you, it was for a good reason. We're building this studio here. Let's show them around, John. Here we go.
Welcome.
The mad genius behind the studio. We have manager John with us today. John, how'd we end up here? You're from Buffalo, New York. How'd you get here? Why are we here today?
I think it was through Lester,
Yeah,
because you know Lester very well.
right.
I connected with him at an event. We were doing like a pop-up installation with our whole team and stuff like that. And he saw some of the videos that we were doing. And initially he was going to do it.
Right.
He was going to get like a home studio, but then the timing wasn't right. He's like, I know the guy that would be the perfect fit for this. He's great on camera. He has a great business model.
Cool.
And so Lester then introduced us.
Yeah. I'm glad he did because I'm glad I got my studio first.
Right on.
So I could be the lead host and he could be the co-host. Um, yeah, that's awesome. And so, like your company, it's called Manager John and the Creators Den. Your name is Manager John?
Yeah. No, I introduced myself like that.
What's your real name?
John Cater, that's my government name.
Okay.
That's what you can find me on.
And your social security
Yeah,
number
social
is what?
Yeah, last four digits of your credit card. And all right, we got that on camera.
Yeah, of course.
So Manager John started off as, it used to be a joke, because
Right.
when I was younger, we broke out into YouTube at a very early phase. So I think it was around 2011. Very young, very easy to get a lot of exposure on YouTube. And my friend actually had the YouTube channel, and he was doing the videos. Like you have like three kids, right?
Yeah, that I know.
So
Right.
so we would make content that like probably people, kids about, the age range of your kids would watch. It was really easy to break out, and we were doing all these videos on YouTube and just these
Like
different
those
sketches.
Russian YouTube girls?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, right. No, I only wish I collected as much views as they did.
Yeah.
But very early on, he was the talent and owned the channel and stuff like that. And we were just in high school, and I was the only person that he really trusted
Right.
to basically help him figure out things, because we were getting like millions of views on YouTube, and
Wow.
we were young.
What year was this?
2011. So we were like crushing it
That's
on
like
YouTube.
YouTube pioneers.
Yeah, I remember we got like our first $7,000 check from YouTube, and we couldn't even cash it because we didn't none of us had bank accounts yet.
Bank account.
Yeah, so
That's great.
we put his grandma that was currently on Social Security. We put his grandma on to receive
No way,
the
no way.
Google check, and she's freaking out because she gets like a $7,000 check in the mail. She's like, I'm gonna lose my Social Security. She's like
Yeah.
freaking out and all this stuff. But so I used to like take the sponsorship meetings, try to do emails. I sucked at business. I was a kid.
Yeah. How
Right.
old are you at this point?
I'm 32.
Right now you're 32?
Right now I'm 32.
Or back or 1999. Okay.
Right. So I was the only person that he trusted, and I would jump on these meetings and take these calls and try to do these emails and
Right.
figure out what a manager, was. And my friends would always joke around and be like, there he goes, Manager John, handling the situation. And eventually, I switched to like finally owning that, to finally really finding my lane and taking like a weakness that people used to make fun of, and going all the way with it, getting really good at it. And then I put it under an LLC. I'd introduce myself as Manager John, which people are like, well, what's your real name?
Right. Right.
But it stuck with people.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the power of branding, is when you put a brand to a feeling.
Right.
Right. And that's why people remember you and choose to do business with you. So amongst other things. But that's
Right.
what separated me at that time. And so I kind of leaned into it. And then we ended up, this past 18 months rolling out the Creators Den,
Yeah.
um, which is, I've been in content for over 15 years,
Right.
right? And so I've seen like multiple waves, and I've been in an entertainment space, I've been in a boxing space, I've been in a music space, and so I've seen all these different areas that now I'm taking everything that I've learned from them and giving them to the business owner and vice versa.
Right.
So that's kind
So
of
for those of you that don't know, what manager John does, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you go into small business entrepreneurs, maybe athletes, whatever, comedians, place of business or their house, and you build these podcast studios. You do the design, the spec, you source all the materials and all the equipment. You kind of customize it based on their, I guess, their needs, wants, desires, and vision for their show. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, and it wasn't always like that. Like I used
Yeah.
to just be like a videographer running and gunning and just like capturing video, creating social media these posts
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And then, within this last 18 months, we rolled out studio builds because I was like, okay, well, creators have existed forever.
Right.
So now, how do you help the business owner become the creator for
Right.
their business?
Okay.
And so we were like, why don't we just give them the keys to what everybody else is doing in the creator economy
Okay.
and show them what they're doing with the strategies and everything like that. And that's how like this specific product came out, like building full turnkey studios. I was inspired by one of my coaches that I hired at the time. He was teaching like YouTube through Think Media, Omar El Takari, and he
Right.
mentioned like he was doing a couple like studio builds. And I was like, can you talk to me a little bit more about that product? Like how do you go about those steps to even selling this, and like what's your process like? And he only gave me like 10% of it,
Right.
of understanding. And then the rest I had to figure out on my own, like logistics, how
Yeah.
to build and grow a team around being able to provide a turnkey product
It,
like
it's
this.
a great idea because small business owners are busy. you know, they want to do this, but they don't necessarily have the time or the expertise to put all this together. Like I could have probably done this half as good, and it would have took me 6 months. But the lighting wouldn't be perfect. I wouldn't have the right cameras. I'd have to, but trying to. It makes more sense for the business owners to stay like in their zone of genius,
Yeah,
and then you guys are just like, "Oop, here's turnkey. You could do it by yourself." Like we're doing this show by ourselves. Like we don't have a video team behind all the cameras. You could, but like I can switch the camera, angles right here. It's
exactly.
actually kind of exciting to hit these
Exactly.
buttons. Um, but yeah, this enables me to just jump in when I'm feeling creative and kind of do interviews, do a live show, do a broadcast. So far, I love it. This is great. So, like, where do you see what's next for like manager John and the creators? Then I know you guys are also doing like video coaching on school online. Is that right?
Yeah. So when we were doing the podcast, we realized that there's still a gap of education for
Right.
someone, because it's almost more important to instill confidence into somebody versus information,
Okay.
right? And so if we can take, somebody that's rough around the edges, they have this product, and we can instill confidence with them, we can give them all the tools that they need to be able to become the creator that they want to be.
Right.
And so a lot of the creators then came out of a need after the studio builds. And I'm like, well, this is the perfect product to be able to fill in the gaps,
Right.
right? Everybody that's a coach in the creators then
Hmm.
owns a production company.
Right.
So it's not like you're getting information that's secondary, right? Oh, I saw this online, you should do this. It's
Yeah.
like, no, this is what I
This
did
is what I'm
for
actually
the
doing.
first 15 years of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just take the secrets and whatever that I have and apply them. And so the creators then is made to instill confidence as well as education.
Gotcha. Because without confidence, no one's going to do anything.
Exactly. I have people that have done like $20,000 studios and they still sit on it
Oh my
because they
god.
don't get enrolled into the continued education, which the creators then I gift people 3 months after
Right.
we do the build of like, hey, here's 3 months in the creators, then dive in, ask questions, be
Yeah.
vulnerable, talk to other creators, other people in your niche and outside of your niche as well as the coaches. So it was a really natural fit for us to roll this out at the same time and really build a community of people that can identify as creators.
I've found, like, I do a little bit of real estate coaching. I found that people that just close their eyes and jump in learn faster by doing.
Hmm.
We could talk about doing a show for the rest of our lives, but until you actually sit down and start creating content and seeing what it looks like, seeing what you like and don't like, you'll it's the only way to really learn is by doing, you know? And if that's what's great about school, which is SKOOL for those that don't know.
Yeah.
That's the Alex Hermosi
Yeah,
product,
he
right?
ended up I think he ended up acquiring school because the tech already existed, and then I think he just acquired it and then just souped it up
Yeah.
and made it, like, as big as it is now.
What's really cool for, like, the younger people out there is if there's a niche you're interested in, there's probably a class on school for it,
Yeah,
whether it's content, photo, video, small business. Like, you're going to learn way more about that, what you want to do on platforms like school than you'll ever learn in like college or traditional learning. So it's like, if I was 18, 20 years old again, I would like double down on what I was passionate about and try to get around, get proximity to people that are doing that for money.
yeah,
Because you can go to a mastermind for one weekend and like your whole life could change, you know? But
yeah.
then you would need to be in a community to also support you as you're actually doing it. Because sometimes people have a habit of going conference to conference to conference, taking all these notes. They go home and
Information overload.
yeah. And then they just go home to going back to what they were doing and they don't get anywhere.
Well, even on the so as I was watching the coaching call um that you were doing, and one of the people that you're talking about was like that you were talking to, you said you just got to start physically doing something
Right.
right now. You got to get into it, you got to get enrolled, and you have to troubleshoot because the troubleshooting is won through failure,
Right.
right? And so the more that you can get your fails out of the way,
Yeah.
the more you can learn. And secondary to also understanding, how good school is that you can make a whole lot more money teaching someone how to do the thing than actually doing it for them.
Right. That's true. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have more credibility and you'll go faster and further if you've done it before, I think. But if you have a knack for even just inspiring people and leading people to want to learn more and get off their butts and actually do something with their lives and their passion, try to create it, into a business. Yeah, there's tons of room for growth on school. Um, and you know, anyone that out there that's like thinking twice about um, doubling down on their passion, you should join a community online to see how other people are doing it. Be practical about it. Like you're not going to go from making $100,000 in the corporate world to then making the same amount of money, doing your passion. There's going to be a runway and a ramp up period. So, what I like to tell people that are thinking about being entrepreneurs is like, don't worry about 9 to 5. Think about what you're doing from 5 to 9, every day
Yeah.
after work. Like you could be jumping into school, seeing what people are doing around the passion that, you think you want to do. Start testing the waters, and seeing if you could even hold yourself accountable to a calendar or a schedule. Because if you can't like consistently do something and be okay with looking stupid and, you know, just being okay, not know, accepting the fact that you don't know anything, and
Yeah.
and that's okay,
Yeah.
and just learning over time. I mean, just that alone is like kind of what entrepreneurship is all about. I feel like just being willing to fail and knowing that it's okay, and over time you're going to get better if you just don't give up. Like business is about outlasting,
Yeah,
Almost
whoever
more
can run,
than
it's a marathon. Whoever can
yeah,
run the longest wins,
for
not
sure.
whoever runs the fastest. Obviously, if you can, you can have um obviously if you can have speed with quality at the same time,
Yeah,
like that's always going to, prevail.
for
But
sure.
like you can't drop your quality um in the middle of that race.
Yeah. So let's talk more about your business. How many installs like are you gonna do this year?
The goal for this year is to triple what we did last year, which is 36.
Hmm.
Um, and when we created a partnership directly with TikTok, which has been able to kind of put gasoline on that fire. Um,
Wow.
and so we're the only vendor, we're the only person in the U.S. that's able to pull everything together this way.
Hmm.
That we have a relationship with them, and so that like they can't find other vendors that are doing what we're doing.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I have meetings with people from China and they're like, "How are you finding these people that you're growing your team with?" And I'm like, "You're going to have to pay me a lot of money more than what you're paying me right now."
Yeah,
But
exactly.
cuz they're asking for the sauce to
Yeah,
figure out
yeah.
how to scale it, because like they're the fourth largest platform in the world. And I'm like, "Just scale with me." So,
I was thinking something that might be a good idea for your business and something I did here before, we did our design. You might be able to partner with like a company that does Matterport scans.
yeah, you sent me the Matterport of this year. I think honestly, I think that'd be a great sponsorship, number one, to be able to
Yeah.
use that tech. But I was looking at there's man, I got to figure out what it's called. It's like poly something where like you can take a 3D scan of the room and it'll
Right.
it'll it'll render it. Because I think I'm gonna do that with this one specifically and just get like a 3D render where people can turn
Yeah, I
and
mean,
move around.
I have the camera. We could do it.
Let's do it.
After
Yeah.
this. What's great about the Matterport camera, and there's like a portal I think where you can hire like Matterport photographers, like almost like an Uber.
Hmm.
And because someone approached us about doing it, but we do real estate, we just do Matterport on the side for some projects. But what's cool is you can go in, scan a space, and have super accurate dimensions that you can then measure in the tour. That's what makes Matterport really different. It's not just about looking around, left and right. It's about being able to point A to B, C to D, and know exactly what those dimensions are.
Yeah, which is super helpful for me because that
Right.
that's the difference between, us using the stand versus like rigging something from the ceiling
Yeah.
or like, the amount of space that you have for your second setup over here.
Right.
Like that's huge. Cuz man, I'll tell you some of these people they give me dimensions and it's like they measured it with their
It's
eyes
just
closed,
so
dude.
wrong.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just measured it with their eyes closed.
And I also think, like, I don't know if you've ever been on Fiverr, but there's like 3D architects that you can send a Matterport link to with all the dimensions and the space.
Mm.
And you could maybe have your designer partner with them and they could
Well,
create like a walkthrough of the studio.
that's not a bad idea because right now I have this 3D designer and she's honestly this golden find that I found. She's from Turkey. Her name's Z.
Yeah.
She's crazy good at what she does. Actually, the reason why I hired Z is because I when I first started this, I was messing around with SketchUp.
Yeah.
You know SketchUp? I was like trying to be all clunky, like putting things in it. The pre-design looked ugly as
Yeah. Yeah.
just super
And the
disgusting. I should have
design,
just drawn it.
it's part of your sales process.
Yeah.
That's kind of what really hooks people in.
Yeah, so I brought her on and she was doing the SketchUp. She was like, "Do you mind if I use Blender? It'll look a lot better." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Please, your God, make
Please
this
make it look better.
please
Yeah.
take whatever I have and make it look better." And
Right.
so that I might actually give her a piece of that tech or like a login or it's a
Because
subscription
you
base.
can also convert it to a CAD file. So it's not just like a video walkthrough. There's
Mm,
also different formats. They cost a little money depending on what you want, but if you have a CAD file, that's what engineers like use to build buildings.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's as good as it gets too. But
I think it would be cool, like for you guys, if you could put your potential prospect in the seat and have them like look around left to right.
oh,
Then
that'd be
it kind of
crazy.
really brings it to life.
Are they able to catch people like that?
I don't know.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Catching people's a different business. We can't talk about that here. Yeah.
That's funny.
Um, cool. So, like business wise, are you trying to grow Creators Den beyond just people who bought podcast studios?
Yeah,
Is it for anybody?
so it's available to both creators. So it's anybody that wants to come into a creative space and community, because it's not just about the vertical coaching, but it's about the lateral coaching. It's about
Gotcha.
this other person here did this thing. I'm sharing it in the group. You can talk amongst each other of like workflows and stuff like
Mhm.
that you're trying to accomplish. Um, and so the community aspect is like we're growing creators and we're growing business owners. And my whole, my mission statement used to be just like, okay, we're gonna go and we're gonna be a household name and content. To I redrafted my whole mission statement, which is like I'm gonna teach, train, and build creators and businesses how to grow and scale their brand and their story through content creation
Mm,
that's going to outlive my life and legacy. So
wow.
like
That's
my
big.
goal is that like after I die that there will be a ripple effect of people that have, one, they've come through the program, that two,
Yeah.
they're better creators, they're better leaders in their life, they're better relationship builders, they're dialed in with their messaging, they're better with marketing. And then so there's the creator and there's the business owner. The biggest gap between the two, so the biggest gap between the creator and the business person is the creator knows how to create content.
Right.
They know it very well.
Yeah.
Very well. Enough, it's so well enough to get paid by the platform that they don't have to work a 9 to 5.
Right.
The business owner understands infrastructure.
Mhm.
The business owner understands OPEX, they understand overhead, they understand recruiting, they understand leadership, they understand all these other things. And most times, the business owner doesn't understand content creation because they don't have time,
Mhm.
because they're working all these other things. And so, what I found is there's a beautiful blend that happens when you put the creators next to the business owners and they're able to share ideas with one another. Like, hey, you're doing all this editing as a creator. Have you ever thought about outsourcing an editor or an executive assistant?
Right.
The content creators never thought about letting go of anything.
Right.
Whereas the business owner is just trying to also figure out how to add content to things. And so
Right.
the creator can say, here's what the workflow is. Oh, you have this podcast studio. Here's how I would set up your shows and stuff like that.
Right.
Here's the keywords. Here's how you should structure your hooks, right? To get
Mm,
the most amount of views. Here's how you should put your description. Here's how you should distribute it. Here's how you should build your newsletter,
right.
right? So there's like this beautiful relationship that happens in the creators then, to where the business owner can meet with the creatives and the creatives can meet with the business owner and they can steal from one another.
Wow.
So
That's awesome. So
that's,
those are the two types of avatars you have in
yeah,
your
those
den.
those are the two types of avatars. And we have creators, at the highest levels, ones that have started off from 0 2. Like there's one business that we have in there, and his name is Christian, and he started off, and he was cutting clips like with the podcast, and it was going all right. Like he was getting out mass quantity,
Yeah.
but then like we dialed in a bunch of things that he was missing. And this last quarter he was able to get 1.4 million views
Wow.
off of
On
his
what
stuff,
platform?
off of uh between YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and then
Wow.
even Facebook. So
Wow.
like the four kind of pillars
Yeah.
for social, which is phenomenal because maybe you break out in one platform, but the other ones are kind of like stale and they're dead a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. What are your
So,
favorite like buckets of content? So you have like a show you could do.
mhm.
What else? Do you is Talking Head dead? Like did people use that too much and it's just looked at as like advertisement now?
I don't think Talking Head is dead. I think the biggest thing, if you want Talking Head to be successful, is you have to be really dialed in on your delivery.
Mm,
Right. So delivery is everything with Talking Head videos, understanding your hooks, your negative hooks, your
tonality.
outcome hooks, your tonality, your reactions,
Right.
right? You have to give so much more for Talking Head
Mm,
as an organic reaction that you give someone.
gotcha.
So a lot of times you'll see a lot of talking head videos like go really viral because somebody said something really dicey.
Right, right.
And so why did it go off like that?
Yeah.
Well, it's because he used a negative hook. He created something that allowed for controversy
Hmm.
or conversations in the comments.
Mm,
So talking head is really successful. I think talking head for a lot of people is easy enough to do because they're already having the conversations. Like right now, we're
yeah.
doing a lot of talking head. We're doing video podcasts, which is we're hitting two kind of pillars
Yeah.
within this one piece of content here.
Right.
So my personal favorite is I like vlogging.
Mhm.
I like daily vlogging. I like going and grabbing the camera and bringing the camera with me. You probably saw me,
Right.
this whole time I was like holding the camera, talking to the camera, giving the breakdowns of what we're doing when I was building certain things.
It's just recording what you're actually doing.
And it's able to help keep retention because you're constantly changing the scene.
Oh, right. It's true.
So what I would say to any business owner is, you guys are already living the life that most people aren't even stepping into or they want to step in, right? We talked
Hmm.
about it earlier with like action takers. You're living the life that people are watching
Right.
and wishing that they were living, and they're trying to figure out what the roadmap is. So I love day in the life vlogging because you can actually show them that and you can be a student in the process.
Gotcha.
You don't have to be flush perfect, right? You can say like, oh, like there was this one build I had where I vlogged it and I was like, well, I didn't order the switcher, so none of this stuff is working yet because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And I talked about that, and that was able to drive more sales because people are like, okay, this guy's real. This
Right.
guy's showing like not just the perfect stuff,
It's
but
not a
like
robot.
it's not a robot. He's showing the struggles that he's going through, how to accomplish this. Oh, I need to make sure that I don't do that.
Right.
And so they
I
take
need to
your
have an
they take your
SOP.
loss, they
Yeah.
take your loss, and they apply it to their wins.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that's like a really great way that you can leverage somebody else's failures is by
Yeah.
like listening to what they went through.
One of my favorite things, I think I got this from Neil Dingra. I don't know if you follow him.
Mm-mm.
It's a big mortgage guy, content creator, is the whiteboard, talking whiteboard videos.
Mm.
Um, so why those are really cool is because you can kind of show flow and demo right on the screen. And, we'll be doing that here. We have a cool Blackboard thing, but a lot of people are visual learners. So they'll hear you, but they won't really get it,
Yeah.
until you put it into a graph or show things side by side. And one feedback I got from that from Neil is like, keep it simple and get right to the point.
Wait, is Neil the one? Wait, no. Is he the one with the glasses? Or
No, I don't
no,
think it's
I'm
like
thinking of a different Neil.
NEEL.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different Neil.
He's got a school platform. I'll show it to you after the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd like
Yeah.
to check that out.
Um, but yeah. Uh, so many possibilities, with using podcast studios and leveraging it for your business. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
So I would say connect on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
What's your
Um,
handle?
Manager John. It
Okay,
just it gets as simple
every
as that.
time it's
Yeah,
Manager
it's right
John.
there. It's not hard to find because I introduced myself by it.
Yeah.
You can also find it, Manager John LLC. Straight up
Oh,
made
we
it.
got the FedEx guy out there.
Yeah,
Should we just bring him on the show?
we should. We got a third. We got a third.
We do have a third
Third mic.
microphone
Bring him
just in
in.
case somebody needs that.
Ask him why my deliveries are late sometimes. Start pressing him.
Yeah. We're gonna sit here until we get the owner of FedEx on the phone.
Yeah. So you have this new podcast studio,
Yeah.
right? And this is a little bit new for you. Can I ask what your experience was coming through this entire from like start to finish, maybe some uncertainties and
Yeah.
some things that you were facing as you were going through this?
Um, I knew I always wanted something like this. I just didn't know how to do it. Or like I didn't. I knew I didn't have the time to do it perfectly, right? So I was kind of subconsciously in the market for what you offered, and then once my friend Lester sent it to me, I was like, "Oh my god, this is it!" Yeah. I didn't know you could buy this like turnkey. Someone comes and just builds a studio. Um, so like I love doing interview style shows, getting to meet um like-minded people, entrepreneurs, small business owners in New Jersey. I believe like proximity is power. Like all these lights and cameras are nice, but really it's nice to be belly to belly with somebody else that's kind of doing what you're doing
Mhm.
and hearing their story of how they came up because everyone's story is different. Some people went to college and have fancy degrees. Some people were blue collar, had a great idea and just ran with it.
Mm.
And I think there's like a lesson to be learned from everyone's story that is really impactful for people that are interested in, kind of creating their own path and creating their own business or, creating a legacy for their family.
What's one story that you have that drastically changed the trajectory of how you moved forward as an entrepreneur? What was a defining moment for you?
I don't know. I mean, I've always been kind of an entrepreneur. I can think I get it from my dad. He always worked for himself. He was a helicopter pilot. He owned a construction company. He owns a virtual reality business. So I never felt comfortable working for someone else. I even worked for him. And when I first got out of college, and like I liked what I was doing, but I didn't like working for someone else. I always wanted, even if meant working more hours and making less money, I always liked having something else going on that I could control because I didn't like having to explain myself of why I was doing what I was doing. Like I always had a clear vision in my head of like where I wanted that project or business to go. And I just wanted to get there as fast as possible and not have to explain myself along the way of
Yeah.
why I was buying this or investing in this. And that's also a flaw. Like as far as leadership goes, like you need to communicate, with people around you. You could probably go further with more people that are aligned with your vision. And, leadership is something I'm like working on, and how to like inspire other people and communicate better of like what our mission statement is and why we're doing what we're doing. Because if you can get more people on board, like with your business and where you want it to go, like sky's the limit. Um, Someone in particular that really inspired me, I would say Gary V.
Mm.
Like I started listening to his podcasts and watching his stuff really early on, like in when I first started like my DJ business. I would say in like 2012, 13, 14, 15, and his stuff really resonated with me. And then when I got into real estate, I came across Alex Hermosi because I was listening to like Bigger Pockets,
Mm.
and he was a guest on that show. And then I'm like, holy shit, like this guy takes like Gary V aspirational motivational stuff and makes it actionable.
Yeah.
Like he's built on top of Gary V's like shoulders.
He's not talking about so many generalities.
Yeah,
Like Gary Vee kind of hits a large audience,
right.
right, with what he's talking about between empathy and, but he doesn't really go to,
Gary V's like mindset,
yeah,
more
mindset.
so. And Alex Ramos's like, just do this. If you just did less of this, you'd probably be more successful. And it's just like stuff you just like drop your pen, like, damn.
Yeah, that's me. You just described me.
When you have the ability to take complex things and make it simple and digestible, that's like genius level stuff to me, because that's so hard to do. And
Yeah.
if you just look at the businesses he's scaled and what he's doing, like it's awesome. So that's a big inspiration. I would say Hermosi, Gary V.
When you first started the DJ business, where were you at before that? What were you doing?
Um, well, I started being a DJ, quote unquote, in college. So
Good network.
um, yeah, I went to Las Vegas in 2007 and I saw like Fetty Legrand DJing at Hard Rock Pool Party. And I
Okay.
was like, I guess I was born with this, but I just looked at that and I was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
It's just like,
That's that
yeah,
entrepreneur like
I'm
in
like
you.
that's not how I could do that, and I want to do that. I'm like that guy's having a great time. He's getting paid. This is awesome. When you're like 21, like a pool party in Vegas is like the highlight of your life. Like,
Yeah.
you don't really understand anything else. And so I went back and I like went to Best Buy. This is back when you bought software on CDs,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
So I went there.
Downloaded it and
I
and
was like, hello, I would like some DJ software, please. And they're like, we don't have that here, you idiot. I'm like, go to Guitar Center. I'm like, Guitar Center? I'm like, I'm not trying to play a guitar. I didn't realize Guitar Center had like DJ stuff. So I went there and, this is the entrepreneur and risk taker in me. I'm like, let's do it. Let's get it all. So I
mm,
just like bought everything I needed, like speakers, put it on a credit card. I had good credit for some reason when I was 21, 22. I mean, my
nice.
my parents like always, smart looking back, they like made me get a credit card at 18 and just pay it off every month.
Mm,
So I started building credit like really early on. Um, so I had good credit. They let me put like $1,000 or two on a Guitar Center credit card that I opened right there. Had 0% interest for like 6 months. Um, and so I just bought all this stuff and just started playing. I lived in a frat house at the time. Just started playing there for like parties in the house. And then one thing where I was like, oh, this is pretty funny. Like I had all the Pledge Brothers make T-shirts with my DJ name on it,
sick.
and I went,
Marketing. There
I
you go.
and I went to one of the bar. Like I had friends that were bartenders and bar backs at local bars at Rutgers, and I said, "Hey, what's your slowest night?" And he's like, "Oh, Wednesday, no one comes in here." I'm like, "Let me come in with my fans for the audition." Meanwhile, I didn't know what I was doing. So on Wednesday night, I brought in like 25, 30 people and they had my name on their shirt. Like like they've never seen that at like Scarlet Pub, at Rutgers. And they brought like their friends and girlfriends and shit. And I played and it probably wasn't good. And the guy was after that, he's like, "Wow, you have a great fan base. We're gonna give you every Tuesday night."
Okay.
And so that's how I got started. That's when I realized, oh shit, I have to actually learn what I'm doing because people are going to get mad at me if I'm like ruining their night. So I use
Mm,
that as like motivation to like kind of learn how to program music, when to play what songs, and how to mix. It took a long time. Like it took like a year or two,
mm.
but eventually I kind of leveraged that into doing bigger clubs and bars and learn that like the DJ business is more about promoting than how you play music. It's like selling bottles,
Which is
basically.
funny because, like, when you came into it, that was a total mindset that you already had.
Yeah.
Was like, okay, I got to slap my face on, or I got to slap my name on everybody's chest as they're walking through. Power of perception,
Yeah.
right? And then promoting yourself. If anybody takes a video, they just see
Right.
just
Yeah.
loaded up.
Perception's reality, kind of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And so, I did that for like 5 years. I did it after college. I worked for my dad after college and did that on the side. Around 2012, I saw like I was getting older and the money was getting worse. Like, this is when DJ culture like kind of exploded because anyone with a computer or
Mm,
a controller, could call themselves a DJ at this point.
yeah.
And a lot of them were willing to work for free or work for bottles. So I'm like, this isn't a good business opportunity anymore. I'm like, I'm getting home late. I'm not getting paid. They're asking me how many people came. I'm like, this is dumb. Then my friend's mom was like, why don't you guys just do weddings? And he was a bartender at the time. And we're like, I don't know. Weddings are gay. and like,
Might have to clip that before we get canceled on the canceled on the first
yeah,
episode.
like they're corny, right? So, but they were like, well, why don't you make it fun? Like when you guys are working at a nightclub. And I'm like, oh, that could be fun. So we convinced one of our friends to, let us DJ their wedding. And, we had like a wired mic, it was like real hokey dory setup, but like we made it fun. Like we played stuff you don't usually hear at weddings. Weddings are known for like Cotton Eye Joe and Run Around Sue. But we
Yeah.
were playing like more like hip hop, house music, like high energy, turn the lights off, put on our up lighting and dance floor lighting and like totally change the environment, and like kind of bring people to give them a different experience like they weren't used to. And so we kind of built that reputation off that. And then that turned into a business. We got an office and, eventually we were doing like 150, 200 weddings with a year within
Oh
like
wow.
4 years.
What was the average ticket on that?
Um, at the time, like $2,000 to $3,000.
That's a pretty good
Yeah.
hustle. What's the
Now it's up to like $5,000.
yeah, yeah, as inflation
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
increased.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump. I mean,
That's it's very smart though. That's when you're talking about this, I immediately start thinking about Blue Ocean Strategy. Are you
no.
familiar with that book? That's how I built all this stuff off of with that mindset too.
Mm,
Blue Ocean Strategy is when everybody's like in a red ocean that's like a competitive area.
right.
That means everybody's fighting for the same food, the same
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
not really thinking about their audience, right? But Blue Ocean is like you go, okay, well everybody is just here and they want to party. Like let's bring the club to the wedding and like let's not follow the playbook that everybody else is doing
Hmm.
and like let's just focus on our audience that's there. That's Blue Ocean Strategy
Oh,
because how many other DJs are we're doing at the same time? You know, you were getting booked what 200 some odd weddings.
yeah.
How many other DJs were doing the same thing that you were doing?
Not many.
Probably not that many, which is why you were getting booked so much.
We were going after a niche, and like
Yeah.
we were like we're not apologetic, either about it. Like, this is what we do. You
Yeah.
want this? Call us. You don't want us? Don't call us.
Yeah.
Like, we're not your grandma's DJ,
Nice.
Call her.
Is that the slogan?
Yeah, pretty much. Um, but that business is still going on. I have other partners. I'm not like doing the weddings anymore. I do more of like the books and the accounting and kind of business strategy, trying to manage my other guys and all that stuff. But um, yeah, it's still like a great business. The only time we had a rough time was during the pandemic, like
Yeah.
when weddings were canceled and dancing was illegal. It was like being on Footloose.
Yeah, but then it probably picked up
It
a
did.
lot more after that because everybody's wedding got postponed.
Plus, a lot of guys went out of business or sold their stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like the people that were left,
Or they're
like,
live
kind
streaming
of
now.
crushed it.
Or they're live streaming now.
Exactly.
But so when did you pivot? So when did you start to pivot for real estate? What was the allure to start to pivot to real estate?
During the pandemic. It
That was
was
it.
like my business slowed down. I was doing live streaming, and stuff online during the pandemic, but I'm not getting paid for it. I
Yeah.
was just doing it for fun to kind of keep our audience entertained. Um, but so July 2020, I'm like, I got to do something about this, and I started seeing like lines of people at open houses in like my neighborhood. So I was like, wow, real estate's great right now. Like, what are these people doing? Like, well, I
Mhm.
can't believe they're buying houses. So I looked into it, talked to some friends that were agents. They said, yeah, real estate's great right now. My wife or one of my friends was like, dude, just get your license. I'm like, all right. And I immediately signed up and just got right into it and passed the test, in like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that hard. But like while I'm in the class, I'm like, I start thinking about like all the lessons I learned creating the DJ business of like branding, website, marketing, sales, CRM, email, website.
Follow up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
follow up. I'm like, oh, I gotta just business is business. So I gotta just recreate what I did there. But it's funny because you build on top of the lessons you already learned. So I hit the ground running in real estate probably faster than most agents did because they've never created a business before. And for someone who's not done real estate as an agent, it looks very glorious, like online. Like, you see Ryan Serhant, you just sell multi-million-dollar houses. That's it, and you make millions of dollars. You don't realize it's running a small business. So you start at ground zero, all delayed gratification. You got to create your own leads, create your own clients, create your own marketing. I knew how to do some of that. I still had a lot to learn, and I still do, but I was able to like create partnerships, get a lender. I leveraged like a lender that I refied my house with and bought my home with. I'm like, hey, I need some help with Zillow like leads. Like, you got to help me with advertising. So he jumped in like early on and split Zillow with me, which most people wouldn't even know you could do. They And so now I was getting leads and I was opening doors and writing offers. So, I
Mm.
had some closings within like 6 months, which is hard to do.
Wow. What do you still maintain that relationship today or
Um, well, now I'm a mortgage loan originator as well. So I don't, use the same people for mortgages, but we still talk and we still we don't offer everything, there's still like niche lenders for different things. But we still have a great relationship and, um, I, I kind of just knew from the beginning, like this is going to take a while and this is going to hurt and this is going to suck, but eventually it's not going to hurt and it's not going to suck,
Yeah.
So I just kind of had that mentality going into it, and I just put my head down and work, and just try to be a little different than other agents in my marketplace, like with video content and like taking a more fun approach to listing videos. Like I'll rollerblade like in the listing video sometimes, or I'll ride a skateboard like up to the house, or
Yeah.
I'll jump in the pool. Like you don't really see that in like we're in Hillsborough in New Jersey. Like it's kind of a farm community, like kind of a calm area. Like it's not New York City, or LA.
Mhm.
But I was like, I'm inspired by those people that do that. And I'm like, why, life's too short. Let's do it here, And so I think between that, like technology background and marketing prowess, I've just been consistent. And um, something that really made a big difference for me in the last year was just working on my sales skills. So just like specifically sales. I already had marketing and technology down, and I thought that's all you needed actually, but it's not. you know,
Mm.
you need great presentation skills, appointment booking skills, and the ability to like probe and clarify the overarching goal of your prospect.
Mm.
It's like, how do you really get to the reason why they're moving? Because people in this marketplace are not always moving because they're happy.
Mm.
Sometimes something sad is going on. You need to find out why. There could be a divorce, could be a death, somebody could be sick, somebody could be losing a job. Like with interest rates this high and inventory this low, like most people that are moving are not thrilled about it, you
Yeah.
know? So you have to like kind of learn to work with those people. Otherwise, you just create a lot of sales resistance and less closings. Um,
Mm.
and like the agents right now that are doing well and surviving this are going to do exceedingly well if the market ever turns around. Because although there's high prices right now, there's very few sales. Like this is the lowest amount of sales in 25, 30 years. If you adjust for population, it's the worst sales ever.
Mm.
Because sales weren't this low till like 1995. But we had a lot less people then.
Mm.
So it's an interesting time. We're very sensitive to interest rates and recessions and job stability. So if any of those things start getting out of line, people start like, "Oh, I'm not buying a house," because that's a huge decision
Mm.
whether to buy or sell, right? Um, that's people don't take that decision lightly, but with the right skills, you learn how to help people better. 'Cause that's our job.
That's all sales ever is.
Yeah,
And that's also what I try to teach like a lot of creators that are struggling to do sales because they don't want to sound salesy. And
hmm
I'm like, man, you just have to be like interested in
yeah,
what people are talking about. You have to be interested in why they're doing like for even for this build when we were going through our whole process here, me really understanding like some of the goals that you were trying to accomplish, why you were doing it, time frames, stuff like that, like just being really interested
yeah,
in your brand and what you wanted out of it, like the vision that you had for yourself.
yeah,
I mean, that's why we did business together because you had a vision, I build a roadmap,
right,
and it's not like I'm giving you something that you never wanted in the first place.
right,
And that's really what sales is really finding out, okay, do I have the right product for your vision?
right.
And sometimes it's hard and sometimes you have to say like, hey, this is probably not a good fit.
And most times people just want a game plan.
People respect you for it too.
Yeah,
People respect you for that. If you I want to say disqualify them, but if you give them like maybe a different route, or if you have
mhm,
multiple products that people can fall into,
yeah,
and like you can serve them in the in a better direction, people almost appreciate that
For
10
sure.
times more.
Yeah. Um, and like I said, if you can give a game plan to someone who's trying to accomplish something, it may work for them, it may not, but at least they understand the steps involved in the project.
Yeah. So now that you mentioned like the steps here, what were some of the steps that you went through in the studio build with the experience that you had with us working together?
Um, first I got all the measurements of the place, right? Luckily, I had the Matterport camera, so I just scanned that. That was easy. Um, then I sent you guys like pictures and screenshots and videos of like decor and other creators that I liked and what I just went to like creators basically that I liked. I'm like, I like the way that shot looks. I don't know how they did it. You guys, your job to figure that out. But this is the shot I like. I like the dark background. I like, flashes of glam, like old style American, some lights. And, I didn't give you that much actually. But then you guys somehow took that and created a rendering. And I was like, damn, that's it. You
That's
know?
sick.
So that was cool.
So from render to reality, what do you think the expectation was?
um, what my expectation was?
Like, do you feel that when you saw the render to
Yeah.
now that we hit everything that
I actually think it's better. This is better than I thought it would be.
right on,
Yeah. Which is good. You always want to exceed expectations.
right on. Um, let's see here. Is there anything that you'd like to say in regards to the space and the experience of us working together?
Um, no, I mean, like, anyone who's on the fence about getting a professional studio, I think it's totally worth it. If you're serious about it and you want to take your content or business to the next level, give manager John a shout.
Right on.
All right.
Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to capture your vision and
Yeah.
give you the tools and the assets that you need to be able to grow and scale your business. Because it's not easy growing and scaling, and it's definitely not easy learning a new skill
Yep.
and like leaning into that. So thank you so much for trusting us with that
Yes,
and going
sir.
through the entire process. I'll let you
Yeah,
close this
cool.
out.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and close this out. Well, this was our first episode shot in the new studio with manager John of and by way of Buffalo, New York. In case you missed it, it's manager John and the Creators Den. You can find them on school. Just Google it, you'll find it. This is it for our episode here of the Garden State Growth Show. Stay tuned for our next episode where we will be interviewing politicians, athletes, small business owners, realtors, and mortgage loan originators. I believe that's what we're gonna do. Right, John?
Listen, you guys got to hit the subscribe button if you found anything valuable within the conversation that we had here today. It's entrepreneurship, it's local information, as well as political news and really competitive, sports driven mindset, as well as really great conversation and a lot of really great guests. So make sure that you guys are
Yes, sir.
subscribing to this, turn on those notifications, and make sure that you do not miss the next episode because it'll be the biggest mistake you ever make this year.
And you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
All right, guys. See you later.
Peace.